Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's LongBox. I'm here with Timothy Olsen, who is the creator of Melvin. How you doing?
Yeah. I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. Not bad. You asked me yesterday if you could come on the channel. I was like, how about tomorrow?
Oh yeah. Well, you know me. Any chance I can get to promote. You know, I'm a shameless shiller. You know.
You know, I'm doing the same thing. You know, I remember growing up watching Johnny Carson with my parents and the talk shows, and they all used to say, "Man, I'm on the promotion circuit." You know, and now I know exactly what they're talking about. I'm on the promotion. You know, luckily, I enjoy talking to people about comics. You know, otherwise I could see this being torture. I could see some of those actors just they hate it. You know, but I you know, we're talking about comics. I'm promoting my comic. You're promoting your comic. What's not to like?
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing. Every time I hear Johnny Carson, I always think the electric gypsy. It slices, it dices, it makes all kinds of julienne fries.
Oh yeah, those fake commercials that he would do. Yeah.
Hey, get off to the slots and cut off. Get out of your car. Cut off your slots and keep driving until you get to the fork in the road.
I always remember. I don't know why, but Johnny Carson's is like a comfort thing with me. Jeez, talk about talking to people. We've been on for a minute. We're already diverging about Johnny Carson, but I love that kind of stuff. But I like when I heard that music, da 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 da. You know, it meant bedtime. But every once in a while, like during the summer, I would lay down on the couch. My mom would cover me with the blanket. She would smoke her cigarettes. You know, back then everybody was smoking. She would smoke her Kent Kings. She would have a little bottle of Schmitz, the beer bar. Yeah, I don't know if you're old enough to remember Schmitz beer.
I've heard of Schlitz.
Yeah, and you know, and we would watch Johnny Carson. I would probably make it through the monologue, and then you know, talking to actors and actresses. Hey, you know. Charles Lawton, and I didn't care.
Like most kids, you watched it. You watched Carson when you were sick.
Yeah.
My favorite. I mean, he's the king, undisputed king. But my personal favorite, is Conan O'Brien.
Oh, I remember when Conan first started. I watched him for a couple of years, and I'm weird. All of a sudden, I just like I'm done. I don't know what it was, but one day I just was like, these are just commercials. You know, I'm staying up at night, you know, because Conan came on while I was in college. I'm tired the next day, or I'm working the next day, and I'm watching actors and actresses commercials. You know what I mean? So I just stopped. I don't think I've watched it.
I love his skits. The ones where he goes like, he went to Korea, and he had this lady was teaching him English, and he was being inappropriately creepy on purpose. He goes, "Haven't you done your research before I came here? I'm a certified creep." And he looks at the camera like,
I don't remember that one. But yeah, I remember when Conan O'Brien first came on, you know, after David Letterman, and I remember when David Letterman was on Channel 4 during the day, and then moved to night. I loved Letterman when he started.
I never thought Letterman was funny.
I think I'm older than you. I think he was edgier at the beginning, and then
Jay Leno also was a person I didn't think was funny. But
I never liked Jay Leno. He just seems so dull and I don't know.
Yeah, but he did that funny headlines segment, or at least the garage where he has all his cars.
Well, the funny headlines, that was like, I think that was even pre-Carson on the Tonight Show. You know that.
Yeah,
but I don't like now. My wife and I sometimes, you know, like sometimes I'm in construction. Sometimes I'll just be off work in bad weather or something like that. I'll be home laying in bed, and I'm like, let's just watch reruns. Like we'll go to those weird stations that just have old 50 shows, and we'll just watch old Johnny Carson reruns. You get a laugh at me. You know, we just watched one day. My wife and I were feeling sick. It was like a Sunday. We have like an L-shaped couch. I just laid over here. She laid over, and we watched Hee Haw. You know, we all made fun of Hee Haw as kids, and I'm like, you know, I've never watched it. Growing up in New York, you don't
think it's cheesy as hell, man.
Yeah, I was like, let's watch Hee. I think it was just like, you know, momentum. It just went through. I was like, this.
I love watching like Groucho Marx interviews. Anything he did. I mean, just The guy didn't have to be dirty. You had to think about his jokes a lot. Like, wait a minute.
You know what's funny is that when my wife and I first got married, we watched a lot of PBS, and they had this documentary about Groucho Marx that we must have watched over and over. There was like a series. There was one about Louis Prima, Groucho Marx. You know, and growing up for me, I knew all these people. You know, my wife grew up in Winnipeg. She didn't really know Louis Prima. You know what I mean? And we just watched. I'm trying to remember the name of the series, but it was, you know, like hour-long TV show PBS documentaries about people that you always knew about but didn't know their story, like George Burns and Gracie Allen. I love that. And the other thing, we still watch it. We just watched it last week. Is the Dean Martin celebrity roasts. Do you watch those at all?
I think those were a lot better than the recent ones. The other ones are the newer ones are just trashy.
Yeah, the original ones, because they were on network TV, so you couldn't curse, you couldn't really be dirty, you could be suggestive. And to me, to bring this to comic books, this is why I think the best era of comics was under the Comics Code Authority, because they put lines over here that you're forced to be creative with. You know, yeah.
I disagree. It really is anti First Amendment speech. I mean, you couldn't even do an anti-drug comic book,
right?
So
well,
I mean,
but the thing about the Comics Code Authority is it wasn't government; they did it to themselves.
Right? You didn't have to actually have it on there.
Yeah, no. They did it to themselves. But I don't know.
I'm an Image kid. Image comic books.
You're younger than me, yeah.
Image was exactly like Marvel and DC, but they were edgier and cooler. Like they were like Marvel and DC's edgier, cooler brother, you know. So
what were your Image comics now that we're
Youngblood, Spawn, the Max, Wildcats, Deathblow.
Let me ask you about the Max. I bought all the Max when they came out. I read them when they all came out. I've reread them, and I still don't know what the hell exactly was going on. And I loved it.
It was cool. It was just some crazy shit. Like
it was really bizarre, isn't it? You know,
the Max and Julia were in two different worlds. They had their our world selves, and then they had like a their Pangea version. And I don't know, Mr. Gon was like some kind of, I guess he was some kind of like magician or something. Or
yeah, but if you remember, it was really dark. I don't even want to talk about what he did. Yeah, he was. Mr. Gon was a terrible. Like once you started like it was like peeling back an onion. At first, he was this goofy, and then you find out what he actually did. You're like, ooh, this.
Well, those little Isis things, they were like white in the Pangea, but as soon as they crossed over, they turned black and evil. Yeah,
I watched the first seasons of Rockford Files because I'd never watched it as a kid. So
that's when I was home during the day, we had a channel called the KISTW, and they didn't have new programming. They only had like old programming. So you would see like Brady Bunch and Batman and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So now that we talked about 70s TV, which I enjoy, you can get me talking about this all day long. Tell me about the Melvin. I say this a few times. I get a little embarrassed because as much as I'm into comics and as much as I'm into the indie comics, there are comics that go under my radar. You messaged me and I said, let me see some art. And I got to say, are you the artist too?
I am the writer and the creator. I hired, I wish I was that good.
Okay. Me
but
too.
I hire the people, and I am now blessed with a team that we work well together.
Oh, that's good. That's always awesome because the art that you showed me reminded me of Ron Mosicki, he's doing unheroic tales in my comic. An 8-page back.
You saw a lot of Rob Ewing artwork and a lot of Sid Telis, who for some reason what was that artist after Jim Lee that was kind of like the artist for Wildcats for a while? It was like anyway, his artwork kind of reminds me of that, and I love it.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. I saw the image from Melvin, and I thought of Image Comics. Now, Image Comics always looked good. You know, I didn't read your stuff yet, so it looked good. You know,
Yeah.
the problem with the Image comics originally was when you read them.
But see, coming from a kid who was like, what, I was like 12 in the early 90s, that it was like, whoa, this is awesome. I mean, like, Marvel was too much of a too wussy to show like a double page spread of a bad guy blowing his brains out.
And Marvel lost a lot of their good talent, you know, from the first couple of years of Image till maybe 2000.
Yeah,
Marvel was putting out some bad stuff. It was
they were trying to copy what the Image guys were doing because
but they didn't have the talent that Image had. So
yeah,
you know, and then DC. I just made a video today of back issues that I bought. DC was putting out some of the best comics in the world and some of the worst. And like,
yes, that's the guy, Travis
Chare. Yeah,
Chare, is that's how you pronounce
so.
it? Yeah, that Sid's work kind of reminds me of that guy. I don't know why it just does.
Why can't I find? Oh yeah, DC was putting out garbage like this. Bloodbath, you know, the culmination to the Bloodlines multi-part story in the annuals. This is awful, but I'm like, it's only 2 issues and I don't have it, and I'm a crazy person. And this is everything bad about DC. You can see Mullet Superman, Booster Gold's got like big armor. It's Azrael Batman. It's like all the bad stuff that we remember about 90s. Mm-hmm. And then at the same time, at the same period, DC was putting out like wonderful Vertigo stuff, which was like some of the best comics. DC was a weird company. It was almost like schizophrenic.
Well, yeah, they were trying to. Although I'd have to say the biggest problem with Image is they got too big and they ate them. They pretty much destroyed themselves.
Yes, they were a victim of their own success. I was talking about that. I forget who I was talking about, but I can't blame them, because if I was 19 years old and I was making $180,000 a year, you know, back in 1995 money, I would play video games all month too. Why work? And then I'm going to go to a convention. They're going to pay me $10,000 just to show up.
Now, yeah. As a little kid, though, like, and I know everybody hates on this guy, but Rob Liefeld to me was the man.
I like Robert Liefeld.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of his art. I'm still not a fan of his art, but I like him.
Yeah, but like I said, little me was like, oh, dude, X-Force #1 when like Shatterstar is fighting Reaper and he cuts his hand off. It's like, dude.
You got to give the guy credit. He sold comics. He got people excited, and he personally loves comics. I don't see any professional creator talk about comics the way he does.
Yeah.
What is he? He's got to be late 40s, and he still talks about comics like he's an exciting
I saw a stream. He has a stream somewhere, and he is the weirdest mix of angry and hyper. It's almost kind of scary. Like, this is a crazy person.
Well, in his defense, and you know, people attacked him. He suffered the slings and arrows for like 25 years. You know?
Unfairly, I'd have to say.
Yeah. You know, my problem with Rob Liefeld is I think he got too famous too fast. Like I think he should have stayed in the what is that in baseball? The rookie league? I forget what it's called.
In the farm teams?
Yeah, he should have been on the farm team for another year or two, you know, but he got too famous too fast.
He got picked right out of high school by yeah. And he was like we would have gotten Youngblood earlier if he hadn't gotten picked up by Marvel and our DC.
Yeah, those were characters he made as a kid, right?
Yeah.
And then he lost them. How that's got to be terrible. There's a couple of major talents. I don't know if you know Mike Gustovich. He created a team called the Justice Machine, and he lost them too.
Oh, really? Damn.
You know, he was on my channel, and I was telling him about what a big fan I was of the Justice Machine, and he just said, "Yeah, those were my babies, and I lost them." And oh my God, I it was like a kick to the heart. Rob, he's 57 years old. Wow. Oh my God, I trust Marcus. Marcus is my fact checker. Oh my God, the guy looks great.
I would say there's good Rob Liefeld and then there's bad Rob Liefeld. Like Young Blood back in the day, or X-Force back in the day. Good Rob Liefeld. That Captain America thing that everyone always harps on him about.
That was terrible.
Not his best.
Yeah. You're more generous than me. Yeah. Average Liefeld art is good. That I like when Rob. First off, Rob Liefeld, like I forget if you even said it, but it's energetic and it's exciting. Like you said,
Yeah.
2-page spread. But I think he works best when he has a good inker and like maybe an editor who could be like get focused.
Yeah.
You know,
I think he has ADHD just like me.
Yeah. Oh, you do?
Yes, sir.
Are you self-diagnosed or officially diagnosed?
I officially diagnosed from years of testing through the schools. They originally thought I wasn't going to ever talk, and then once I started talking, I never shut up. So.
It's funny that you said that. My niece, my oldest niece, she just sat there quietly playing with toys, and my family, we all thought she was deaf, and we were in the process of getting her tested, but all of a sudden she just started talking, and she never shut up. My father said to her, "I liked you better when we thought you were deaf." my father wasn't too what's the word, graceful with his words.
Yeah. I think they asked me, well, because they do this thing where you have to raise, they have a sound right here, you have to raise this hand,
yeah,
and they asked me, well, what do you hear? And I told them French, apparently. Whatever the hell that means.
My grandmother was in her late 80s, and she was getting tested. They put the helmets on, or the headphones on, excuse me, and the doctor's doing, and my mother's in the next room watching, and my grandmother's just sitting there with this scowl on her face, and she's not moving her hand. And my mother's like, "Oh my God, Nana is deaf. I've been, fighting with her, and now she's legitimately deaf." So the doctor walks in and goes, You can't hear? And she goes, "All I hear is a beep in this ear, and then I hear a beep in this ear, and then I two beeps in this ear and two beep." So the doctor's like, "She's fine." she I don't know what she thought she was supposed to hear, but she was disappointed that it was a beep. I guess she thought she was going to hear music or something. But that's my grandmother, out of her mind. Just a beep in this ear and a beep.
So my book is also I really, when I saw the movie John Carter of Mars, the Disney version.
That was pretty good.
I picked up the book, and the book is a little better, but I like the movie too. The whole idea, it was on Earth. It had, the problems they dealt with weren't even remotely like ours.
Is that what inspired Melvin? Is that what you're saying?
Melvin was created in middle school, and I just kind of your boy Zach was making books, everyone was making books, and I go, this is possible now. I can actually do this. And then somebody made a mistake of telling me I'd never make it in comic books, because the very original Melvin that I actually published was through it was like a print-on-demand site called Lulu.com, and they changed the format so you can't get it anymore, I think. But yeah, somebody made a mistake of telling me I would never make it, and I got fired up. And the first artist was Sherwin, and he's from the Philippines. And I said to him, "We're making a book. We're doing this." And we made that first book, even though people said that I was doing it wrong, or I wasn't, making books the right way. You need to do this, this, and this, and the artwork was then and then. And I'm like, "Oh no, screw you! I'm gonna do it my way. You don't like it? Oh well."
Yeah. So how long have you been making Melvin?
Since 2018, I think. So
oh wow! Okay.
3 or 4 years. I've done like 3 or 4 campaigns, and I've either even if the first campaign didn't fund but sent the books out anyway. Second campaign I funded, sent the books out. Like no matter what happened, I still sent the books out.
Okay.
I know people think I'm crazy, but it's like, you know what? I want people to have this book anyway, regardless if I made it or not. If I made the goal or not.
I'm going to share this screen.
Okay.
The first one had a Captiva of a... Where is it?
That's right, Kyle.
All right. This is Melvin number 2, special edition.
Yes.
So I got a bunch of questions to ask you. All right. Forgive me, but I kind of use these chats as a resource, you know what I mean? Because I have a campaign, and since I have a campaign, Heroic Tales number 1. It's on Fund My Comic right now. And
get it?
Yeah, get it. It's just like Timothy over here, these are characters that in one way, shape, or form I've been creating since my childhood because it's based on my role-playing comics. But
awesome.
But
awesome.
So this,
I love that.
So you've been making Melvin, and is this print on demand? Like, is it printed? Is it at your house? Like, how do you do this through Amazon? I'm real curious.
I publish through Critical Blast. If you know who RJ is.
Yes, RJ is on my channel. Yes,
I just send him the stuff. They put it together, and then they put it up on those websites. I think through I forgot what it's called. Sparkle something.
Oh wow.
They put it on like Walmart. They put it on Barnes and Noble. I think they're also on Target.
And may I ask you, like, does this sell well?
I've made a little money. I was under no delusion that it would be a slow burn to the top.
Right.
But I like I said, I put in all the hard work to try to kind of get the word out there that these, this is where you get the books. Actually doing it the original way and not crowdfunding is a little harder than crowdfunding. And I do like the challenge though.
And you also have this.
Yep, that's Melvin Zero Special Edition that just came out. It actually has a 4-page bonus comic of stuff that no one's seen yet. Because the idea, the first issue starts off with Melvin is a mercenary hired to save a princess from a dangerous cult, and of course the cult's kind of like my it's like an allegory for the left. They're a dangerous cult that if you don't think the same way they do, they're going to destroy everything around you.
Okay.
Bend the D or else.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I can't disagree with you too much. How many pages is this? Is there like a page requirement to get RJ to do it?
I think they wanted the first one they needed 36 pages, I think. So around 30 something pages, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because RJ had mentioned this to me when he was on my channel. I'm crowdfunding my book when everything's completed. Maybe when I have 2-3 issues, make like trades and put them on Amazon or something like that. That would be fun.
Oh yeah. I guess I think I gave somebody a little bit of a preview of Melvin 4. That's going to be an original debut through Critical Blast.
Okay, cool.
These are basically just reprints. Yeah, these are basically just reprints of the books I've done.
This says right here 38 pages.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that is again. Every time I talk to somebody, I learn something new. This is great. Thank you for telling me about this. This made my day.
Oh yeah, Melvin 4 also. The 4-pager bonus story is kind of like the origin of the cult, because they worship a deity called Arzarka. And the idea is like they go to Earth before it's judged by God, right? And to absorb all the knowledge. So when the planet goes away, they take it to an area beyond time and space called the Never, which is I took the name from a Metallica song. Actually,
you're a metal guy. You got your Guns N' Roses shirt on, and you.
Well, I do like punk too, but when it comes to metal,
did you say that because I like punk, or you just?
I like both, but I think I'm more into punk than I am metal. But
okay, we can talk about that because I'm a punker from high school, which was in the 80s for me, So
oh, you're old school.
Yeah, I'm old school punk. I was talking about.
Did you have Liberty Spikes?
I had the great big GBH mohawk, and we were drinking and doing other things, and my friend shaved my head. I was like, I want it to be thin, and because I grew my hair out long because I wanted to do it. And I remember waking up in the middle of the night to my mother poking me in the face, going, "You're an asshole."
Did you use glue or did you use soap?
Somebody told me to do egg, so I put egg, and that smelt. So then I did some sort of hairspray. I'm trying to remember what it was called. Some girl gave me some hairspray, but I only stood it up like 2 or 3 times. And I know there's pictures of it. And there's 21 people watching. I'm sure these 21 people don't have the pictures, but I know my friends growing up have these pictures. You would not recognize, no beard, big old mohawk.
Now I grew up. The scene I was
Was my mother wrong? My mother was never wrong.
The scene I was in was pretty small. It was in Bremerton, Washington, and the only big band to come out of that was MXPX.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I was listening to bands like Misery Seed or Damn Nuisance or Quick to Blame.
Oh, okay. Wow, you mentioned bands I don't really know. So
yeah,
and it's funny, when I went to Albuquerque, there was bands that I never heard of. So like that's one of the things I liked about punk in the 80s.
You always,
there was a lot of little local scenes. We traveled up to Boston once to see a couple bands, and there was like bands that everybody knew that I didn't know, and I'm growing up in New York going to CBGBs and stuff.
Oh, I never had the chance to go to CBG. The only reason why I wanted to go to New York was CBGBs.
Oh, we was the hardcore matinee. Mom, I'm going, because just hop on the Long Island Railroad, get off.
Oh, cool.
Get off on 15th Street, and then we'd go to a place, St. Mark's Pizza, what we called the punk rock pizza. We go get a slice of pizza, then we go to CBGB's, watch, and then come back. We'd usually go to a San Loco, which was a Mexican place. Oh my God.
I remember a show. It was at the Bremerton Legion, and the Real Mackenzies were playing there.
Okay. I used to play in Bremerton. Okay. Odin Dasco.
Yeah, that's saying.
The greatest mustache in comics. Played some shows. Well, I can't even talk. Played some shows with some young punks called Shot on Sight. Wow. Are you familiar with that band?
No,
Odin,
I'm not.
Band, Odin. Yeah. I used to do Music Mondays. I got to get back to that. I showed off all my Rock 44.
My favorite band of all time, though, it has to be the Misfits.
Oh, wow. I'm a
Misfits
freak. I love the Misfits. Oh, my God. Did I go to St. Mark's Comics? Yes, I did. St. Mark's Comics was one of the best comic stores growing up in the 80s and 90s.
You ever go to Seattle?
I've been to Seattle, yes.
Golden Age Comics?
I'm sorry?
Golden Age Comics on the water on the water.
Yeah, and the pier?
Yeah.
That's a good comic store. Yeah. I've been there. My buddy Sean was the manager of the Space Needle. So
really,
he did that for years, and then he was the manager for the Jimi Hendrix Experience Museum. But I never made it there while he was the manager. But I visited, and Space Needle.
Odin, I know those places. Silverdale, Port Orchard, Bremerton. That was the area I grew up in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I lived in Belfair, Washington, but I would go to Bremerton, Silverdale, Paulsbo. I'm
trying to think of like the bands from like the Girl Trouble. Do you ever listen to them?
No, I've never heard of them.
Oh, they were like a 3-chord folky punky. I don't know. But the Misfits is your favorite band. I remember I went to Miami with a friend, and we went to a club, and this, I had my leather jacket, but I didn't have the big mohawk. It was all flopped over, and the music was just terrible. And I walked over to the DJ. I don't know. I just said, "Play some goddamn Misfits," and he just, and then the next song came on was 20 Eyes. This is for that guy over there. I was like, I didn't think that was gonna work.
Yeah, I think that Legion Hall show, me and my friends were sitting around, and my friend had a shirt that said, "I learned it from lesbians." And Paul McKenzie comes walking over, and he's drunk as hell, and he's got that thick Scottish accent, and I had no idea what he was saying. We all just stared at him because we had no idea.
Yeah.
He got mad.
Any music influences in your comic?
Yes, when I'm writing something, I have to listen to music.
Is it in the story, like any characters or situations based on?
No, I just if I want a particular thing, I listen to a particular song. I mean, I also like the heavy metal movies, or like the 1986 Transformers, or Titan AE, or
Titan AE was a movie nobody talks about. I thought it was excellent.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think the songs worked well for the movie. I don't think they were great songs by themselves, but for the movie, it worked well.
Yeah, I think I saw that in the movies, Titan AE.
I saw that. I think we rented the movie. I don't know how I saw it, but I remember liking it.
So, is Melvin? I know I'm jumping around all over the place, but you distracted me with punk rock, and I had to talk about punk rock. Is Melvin inspired by John Carter? Because you started talking about that. And
yes, that was. Well, I mean, like the rethinking of the kind of the remaking of Melvin was because I mean, like when I was in the middle school, he was originally Melvin the Teacher Slayer, or this didn't really have yeah, they were terrible books. They were terrible. They weren't even books. They were like pages I would draw on. But the whole John Carter thing got me inspired, and I kind of like metaphorically dug up Melvin and reimagined him.
Now, are you a fan of the Melvins? That's one of my favorite bands.
No, actually,
really?
I do have one Melvin album, and my brother got it because the whole '90s grunge thing. And I listened to them, and I'm like, I don't hate them. I don't like
which
them.
album? I'm just curious. Do you know which one it is?
I don't remember. I could get it on my record thing.
I just because their first album, I never listened to it, and then it just gets better and better and better and better. And I always say this has got to be the loudest, deepest. They can't be a heavier band, and then the next album comes out, it's even heavier. I don't know how they managed to do it. I
only heard of the Melvins because of Nirvana, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I saw Nirvana. Nirvana was it was 7 seconds, then it was Nirvana, and then it was the Melvins as the opening, and it was just as Nevermind came out, and then by the end of that tour, Nirvana was headlining, and the Melvins, were the opening act.
I think Kurt was like homeless when Nirvana. I mean, when Nevermind hit number one.
You saw the Melvins opening for Tool, or you saw Nirvana opening? But that was. Are you familiar with 7 Seconds? They're an old school punk band.
I've heard of 7 Seconds.
Walk Together, Rock Together. Believe it or not, they were the loudest band I've ever seen. And I'm talking about the same concert with Melvins and Nirvana. 7 Seconds, that damaged my ears.
You ever heard of Guttermouth?
Yes. They're a San Diego punk band, right?
Yeah, but they have some good songs. Like they have
I love the San Diego scene. My
1,
buddy
2, 3 Slam, that kind of stuff.
My buddy John moved to San Diego. He's back in New York now, but he was always worked in what's the name of the warehouse. So he was always mailing me records and back and forth, 45s. I had Sean and Phil living in Seattle and John living in San Diego. So I was living it. So we were always recommending bands and mailing 45s back and forth to each other. It was a lot of fun. I unfortunately, like once I started working like a career job, I just couldn't keep up the energy. Like I just stayed with comics. As much as I still like music, I just don't have that energy.
I have no musical talent, so I put all
Neither
that.
do I couldn't play a damn thing, but I liked it. This is my buddy Pete. He's as much as I'm into punk, he's into heavy metal. He knows like every obscure metal band, where I thought I knew every obscure punk band.
You might like Misery Seed.
Misery Seed?
Yeah.
Okay. Pete, what do you think? Would I like Misery Seed? Because when it comes to metal, I like stoner metal. Like I like bands like Fu Manchu and Freedom Hawk. And another band I just discovered called Cadaver. They look like they're right out of the 70s. Like they're not speed metal like Slayer or anything. They sound like 70s guitar metal. Like they'd be opening for Black Sabbath or something. I freaking love them. What the hell am I stepping on? Yeah. I keep trying to talk about Melvin, and then we get distracted about as long as you're happy, I'm happy.
That's okay. I'm easygoing.
There's something about though heavy metal and like this barbarian aesthetic. You know what I mean? Like I know Conan the Barbarian never listened to electric guitar, but you know when people are reading Conan, they're blasting metal, and Melvin gives me that same vibe. Like if there was a movie, there would definitely be like a metal soundtrack to it.
I like to think of it as a gumbo. It's like one part Conan, one part rock, Rambo, one part 90s image comic books, and
yeah, that's a good blend.
Yeah. kind of stir it all up.
Listening to a ton of stoner metal. Yeah, it's funny because I don't smoke pot. I don't even like pot. And to tell you the truth, I don't like being around people. It just smells so bad. It drives me nuts. But I love stoner metal. I love stoner metal. Yes. So you got Melvin issue 0 on Amazon right now. That's the link that I just showed. One of the links, it just didn't work for me, so I'm sorry I couldn't show it. But
which one was that?
The very first one.
Melvin one?
Captiva popped up and said, prove that you're a human, and I didn't want to start doing that while we were talking.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
that's weird.
Yeah.
It's never happened to me. I feel hurt by this. That's good.
But so all four issues of Melvin are available? All three.
Yeah, because not everyone who backed the Melvin 3 campaign have gotten their I still have a bunch of the trilogy packs to send out, and after that,
you got to take care of your backers and stuff first. Yeah, you're doing the right thing.
So I mean, I only did the Melvin 0 one because I got one more Melvin 0 one package with Melvin 0 in it to send out.
That's cool. And how often do you come out with the new issue?
As often as I can. Like I said, we're working on Melvin number 4 right now, and that's going to be a 44 pager.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And you said now this is the team that you're working with now is who you enjoy working with?
Yeah. Me, Sid. We had Carol's color the fourth cover, and it looks freaking amazing.
That's cool.
When I get squared up with Rick Piper, I'm going to have him ink the book.
That's cool. That's awesome. I had some missteps, before I even started my campaign. I hired some people I shouldn't have hired. I had to pay to redo stuff. So my first issue is a little bit more expensive than I wanted, but it was like a trial through fire. Now I got that tempered steel, as I say to people. I assembled the Avengers. I know the people I want to work with. So it should be smoother sailing going forward. Did you have similar mistakes?
When it came to the second issue, yes. We had one guy who didn't finish, and he had to be let go. And then there was something that happened, and pages had to be replaced because something came to light that, man, that was a weird Monday morning. Do
you write a full script? Do you give the artist as much information, or do you give the artist as much leeway as possible? Both approaches are good.
Well, I do I'll type the script out first, and then I send it to Gable for the final blessing. And then from there I start doing the storyboard, and we do it because it's 50% to start, 50% to finish, and then so it's one page at a time. Okay.
Yeah, it's so much fun. I send Renzo the script, and now, now that I got a campaign and it's doing pretty well, I got people that are offering to read my script beforehand. The first was all me, so it was a learning curve. Now I got real talented guys who are offering to help. It's so nice. Again, I people complaining about Comicsgate and indie comics and everything and Twitter. I don't know. I've been lucky. I've been absolutely lucky. People,
the whole drama thing, it's just a bunch of noise. I tell people, I got to the point where I just if there's a whole a stream that's it's all about drama, I'll stay for 5 minutes and I'll just leave. I'll quietly leave because
5 minutes longer than me. I mean, I have to admit, I'm a human being, and there's something to looking at the car crash. We all do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm not going to pull over my car, get out of my car, and walk around the car crash and take pictures on, talking metaphorically. But I don't know. The same car crash on the side of the road for 6 months, dude, I've seen it already. We talked about it. Let's move on. So
yeah, they go on about the same stuff.
I get DMs, dude, don't you understand? It's like, no, I didn't join a cult. I didn't like it in the mainstream when it was all backstabby and whisper networks and purity tests, and I don't like it.
In some cases, I don't know who's worse, or they're both the same.
I have a friend who is a militant atheist.
Oy.
He would just like argue and attack and argue with an attack, and I went through my atheist phase. I grew up Roman Catholic, and I just said to him, you left like this religious dogma and what you consider restrictions, and then you took with you the worst parts of that group, because you have restrictions, you're evangelical, you're zealous, but you don't have any of the good stuff to go with it. I said, that stopped them in his tracks. And that's what I feel is happening over here. We left mainstream comics, but we're still bringing whisper networks and purity tests, and you know what I mean. It's like, should have just brought comics and talking about comics and talking about Melvin and talking about heroic tales and and some punk rock that I didn't know. I got a punk rock guy over here that
Oh yeah. Yeah, but they're the punks and the stoners were the only people that accepted me. I didn't smoke weed.
You're absolutely right.
I didn't smoke weed or anything, but like they would always accept me for who I was. They didn't judge me or nothing. They're like, "Hey, man."
Marcus is smart. Odin, Pete is me and Pete got back in touch, and then he said, enough of this guy, and moved to Arizona. Keep the drama inside the comics. I agree. And you're absolutely right. I remember the most accepting people in my high school, at least, were like the oddballs. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't care. Like, you could go, like, I was a weird kid in high school.
Oh, same.
I played football, so I was in with the popular crowd, but I also played Dungeons and Dragons and loved comic books and like punk rock. So there was the punk rock kids, the role playing kids, the football kids. There's all these different groups of people, and I found that the ones that were the most difficult for me to hang out with were the football guys.
Oh yeah.
Because I would show up at a party with a Misfits T-shirt, and wear my Converse All-Star sneakers, and they would be like, dude, you have to take your own car. You can't. It's like I thought we were friends. You know what I mean? Like, but the punk rock kids never said anything. You could show up with a New Kids on the Block shirt. They didn't give a crap. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I don't know. It's just the funny thing is, like, because you hang out with a group of people, everyone thinks that you're like the same thing.
Right.
So I would always have like kids come up, like, "Hey man, you got any weed?" I'm like, and I'd be like, "No, I don't do that." And then eventually I just started messing with them, like, "Oh man, you should have been here yesterday, man." Just kind of mess with them.
That's funny. Do you got any weed? When I was in college, my roommate, that's how he paid his bills. He would sell weed, and I'm like, whatever, sell you weed. I don't give a crap. But what bothered me was that they would come over and then stay. So I'm doing whatever it is I'm doing, coming home from work, and there's like just all these people just sitting on the couch smoke. I'm like, don't you have your own place to go? And they're like, well, proper protocol. I'm like, proper protocol. I said, when I go to Dairy Barn, I buy my milk and I leave. When I go to 7-Eleven, I buy my microwave burrito and I leave. I said, you bought your pot, go to F home. I come home in this 14, I can't sit on my own couch because you're selling pot. I don't mind you selling the pot, but get these people out of here. Get them out of here. This is my house. And I'm not selling pot. They're like, well, my roommate's a bummer. I don't know.
That's when you get the baseball bat you sell Lucille's hungry.
I'd start cleaning the gut. At this point, I had this big leather jacket and a shaved head, no beard. So I just start cleaning the guns, and everybody would leave. One of his pot girls, she would just stay for like a week. Yeah, I don't want to go home. My mom drives me crazy. I'm like, I don't give a crap. Go home. Your mom, I'm siding with your mom. You're driving me crazy. This is my house. I'm trying to watch TV, and you're watching, Judge Judy on my TV. I don't want to watch Judge Judy. I want to watch something, and you're on my couch. Get up. And then my microwave burritos were all gone because all the stoners were eating them. And I was like,
oh, jeez. Man, that is a cardinal sin. Microwave burritos should not be touched.
That was the only thing that we fought over was we were so broke at the time. I remember there was a 7-Eleven right on the corner, and there was these frozen pizzas. They were $1.09, tax, including the tax. They were $1.09. So that was like we're gonna starve. Let's fill up the freezer. And it was almost like, dude, I bought 6 of them, and there's 8 of them in the fridge, and now there's like we were like fighting over $1.09 pizzas. But that's, guys, if you never went to college, you don't know what I'm talking about. You're eating my top ramen,
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, I kind of miss it now.
You got to do what you got to do, man.
Yeah,
you know, the guys from Black Flag had a pretty good idea. They'd go to like a place that had a salad bar, and they turn an entire plate into a salad.
Yeah. Did you ever read that? What was it, In the Van?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was another thing that I wish I could just take my books and just go on the road and just be out there for months.
You know what's funny? I read On the Road in 1992, and that's when I moved across the country. I just bought a ticket.
You mean get in the van?
I didn't get in the van. I got on Amtrak, and I just had a duffel bag full of stuff. I had $35 in my pocket, and I moved to Albuquerque. I mean, I was going to college, and I had to hitchhike because I get off the train station. Where's the school? Where's the school? And I had some farmer put me in the back of his pickup truck, drop me off at the school. It was an adventure. I look back, I'm like, how did I do that and survive?
Oh,
A couple of years later, my father came to visit me. Believe it or not, I was rail thin because I had no food. You know what I mean? So you know what my father did when he went home? He made a pot of sauce and froze it and shipped it to me. Oh, everything's cool now. I got my father made me a pot of marinara sauce. Thanks.
There you go. That solves everything.
Yeah, that solves everything.
We're having sauce tonight.
Yeah. So, well, spaghetti, you can buy Ronzoni for $1. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's funny that it worked because we had food for like a year. Just break off a chunk of sauce, heat it up, and then everybody out there, nobody had real Italian homemade sauce. They were like, wow, this is good. To the point I got a job in a restaurant, and all I did was use my dad's recipe, and people were like, wow, like it was Sunday, it was a bar, and it was just like French fries and burgers, that kind of place. So I just started making sauce and then boiling up spaghetti, and people coming in with their families now and sitting down and having Sunday dinner because so I asked for a raise. He said no, and I just walked out. Where you going? You don't think they actually took a picture. I was working at a pizzeria because I could spin the pizza in the air. Yeah. And they took pictures of me. So I asked for a raise, and the guy said no. So I took the newspaper. What are you doing? I said, here's my resume. I'm going to any pizzeria in the world in Albuquerque. They'll give you a raise.
That's what it's called. Wait, that's what it's called. Right there, that link right there. Ingram Sparks. I couldn't remember the name of it. My brain was just like.
Well, where are you pointing to?
Oh, the chat.
Okay.
Ingram Sparks. Yeah, that was. Yeah, it's like my brain was just like, wait a minute, what's it called again?
So again, I'm talking about me making pizza, and you got Melvin. So is this limited? Is this your death do you part story? Like, are you gonna be doing this forever, if you can?
I think so, as long as it's possible. I just kind of like the idea. For me, I think, because I'd never make like thousands of dollars. I'd make a couple of hundred over what I was asking. So if I asked for 500,
better than me.
But if I ask for 500, I get like 700. A
lot better than me.
Yeah.
So far I'm in the hole.
Yeah. So I mean, I just looked at it as a way of kind of getting my name out there.
Yeah, and it's fun making comics. I can't believe I'm making a comic. I didn't think I don't know about you, but I thought like if you didn't work for Image, Marvel, or DC, you didn't get to make comics. That's one of the things I'm real grateful that I got. Your boy Zach was my entry to this world. Richard C. Meyer, Diversity Comics, whatever you want to call them. But for whatever reason, the algorithm picked me, and I think he was like made a third or fourth video, and I just, wow, this guy's expressing eloquently the thoughts in my head that I can't express. And then he started making comics, and I was like, wow. And then RJ from the Fourth Age started making comics. I was like, I why not me? What you know? Why can't I do it?
Yeah, your boy Zach kind of like woke everybody up.
Yeah, and I think that's why he's hated. That you know, more than anything else, that's why he was hated, because he started letting other people know, you know, they don't have a hold on creativity in comics, and you know, and then one by one, when big names like Aaron Lopresti and Graham Nolan started coming over and doing this stuff, you know, I'm amazed that there's still big names working for mainstream comics. You know,
Dale working for I think working for Mandy. I think.
Yeah, he did a cover for Mandy. That guy, dude, just make a Pit omnibus and then continue the Pit story, and that you could buy yourself a Lamborghini at the end of the year. You know,
yeah.
I don't know what.
Still got it. He still got it, man.
Oh my God, he's one of the best living comic book artists. You know, I don't know. I don't know the story. I don't know if he's slow. I don't know if there's legalities. I don't know. But man, I'm reading Pit because I got the first 5 or 6 issues, and now I got up to 20, and I'm reading them again. You know, in order, because I got them out of order, and he can write. He's doing I mean, he wrote Pit, and it was one of the better written Image comics at the time, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Oh, Dale is doing a comic for EBS. Cool. What's the name of the comic? I mean, he's doing the full comic, the art and everything, or just the cover? Because he is a phenomenal, and he's a nice guy. I was on Mandy Summers' channel, and Dale popped in, and I got starstruck. And he was so nice. We traded DMs, and he was just a pleasure. Yeah. Talent like him, and he's so humble.
I would like to be able to chat with him, but he don't know who I am. So
well, he didn't know who I was until he was popping in Mandy's channel. I just happened to be there.
And Mandy's cool.
Yeah, Mandy's been nothing but a sweetheart to me. I know there's drama about her, but I don't care.
It's what's that got to do with comic books?
Right. She came on my channel, and I have to admit, and I told her I was a little worried because it just when all this drama started to happen, and I'm like, now I'm gonna get hit with shrapnel. She came on. She was charming. She knew her comic book shit. She knew her role playing. We talked for an hour like fast friends about Dungeons and Dragons, and she knew her stuff. She
likes Pokemon, doesn't she?
Yeah, but I don't know anything about Pokemon, so we kind of stayed on Dungeons and Dragons, and we were like, like the chat couldn't keep up with. It was awesome, and she invited me on her channel to promote my comic. So there you go. She, as far as I'm concerned, I don't listen to what anybody has anything to say. First off, it's none of my business. Yeah. And second off, she's been nice to me.
And she keeps her customers happy, and she makes books.
Yeah.
So I couldn't give two fucks about her.
It's about the comics. It's not about whatever. You're going to see Mandy at here. Tell her I said hello.
Awesome.
Marcus has been pressured me, not pressured, like fun pressuring to get me to go to Heroes Con. And then a couple of my buddies, my childhood friends, we all went to the same comic store. And then we, as adults, we split up and went across our own separate ways. Right. But they're all converging. They're all going to Heroes Con. And I just can't afford to go.
I'm still trying to go to Jim State Comic Con in Boise. And I was gonna fill out the form and everything, and then all of a sudden they had gotten
as a vendor. You gonna go as a vendor?
Yeah, but they're already booked full now. It's not even 2025. It's like, son of a.
Because I all my fun money I used to make my comic, and then the money that's coming in for the comic, I ain't touching that. I'm that's, as far as I'm concerned, that's your money. Until you get that comic book in your hand, that's your money. So I just didn't want to risk spending the money, and then my job, if you take time off, you don't get paid. We don't have vacation pay or anything. So
did you hear the drama about John's LongBox? He likes fancy comics in the 90s, like Starman and Sandman.
Yeah, I'm Dale, pretentious a go-go. I love Vertigo. I love Vertigo comics. I don't know if you were a fan of those, as Chuck Dixon called them, the artsy fartsy comics.
I haven't seen them. So
Like Sandman, Starman.
I've heard of those. I just haven't.
I got anything Vertigo put out. Again, this was right after I read On the Road. I was beat poet, traveling the country, hitchhiking across the country, and then even when I moved to New York, I was a school teacher for a couple of years, and I had off during the summer. I was single, didn't have a girlfriend. My friends were all working, so I would literally get in my car and live, in my car, like Jack Kerouac. Just pull over here. Oh, I haven't been here yet. Just pull over here, meet people, talk to people, inviting me for dinner after, like, oh, you got no place to go? Yeah, I'm hanging out with people, reading Starman and Preacher and all these comics. I loved it. That was my full-on pretentious stage. I make no bones about it. Yeah. So yeah. Dale, you ain't busting my chops. You ain't saying nothing that ain't true.
Yeah.
You ain't saying anything that ain't true.
Yeah, getting to him, no way.
So we already talked about your love of Image comics. Any non-Image comics that you really like?
Well, before Image existed, I was definitely a Marvel guy. I'm talking about like Wolverine,
of course,
X-Force. Like when Jim Lee was doing X-Men, or even before that with the Mir Island saga, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah, that was all good stuff too. So,
I also had a 2-year subscription to Captain America.
Wow! Now, did they come undamaged?
I never got a damaged one. I think it was like the one where he like there's like a story arc where he something happened to the super soldier serum and it was like breaking down or something. He was going up against all these villains, like was it a Porcupine Man or something, or something like that.
Those early Marvel villains like the Porcupine and Egghead.
those B-list villains, yeah.
Yeah, because I had a subscription to Doctor Strange.
Really?
But, yeah, I'm talking like in the mid 70s, because Doctor Strange was one of those comics. It was impossible to find in my neighborhood. And I just remember they just took the comic and they put like a brown paper bag sleeve over it and then mailed it to you. And it just came beat to hell. It looked like you got your buddy's little brother's friend's copy of a comic. And even like, I'm not like, this needs to be mint, but I like my comics to be not beat up, especially when you're the first reader. So that was my first and only subscription.
Yep, Mark. I do remember Mark Gruenwald. I think he was the one working on was it Captain America?
Yeah, Mark Gruenwald was he did a lot of good stuff over at Marvel. He did Captain America. He did an Iron Man run. He was an editor for, I think, Avengers. He did an Avengers run. Yeah, he was. If I'm thinking about the right guy, he was about to become the next editor-in-chief when he had a sudden heart attack and died. I think he was 43 years old. And Chuck Dixon said that he was showing off how what good shape he was in. He was doing cartwheels down the Marvel offices, and everybody was laughing and cheering. They said everybody loved him. And then he said he remembers a week after he was doing that, sudden heart attack. And can you imagine how different Marvel would be? I think Tom DeFalco was the editor-in-chief instead of him. I'm sure Marcus will correct me if my memory is not correct. Only Vertical comics I really got it. Terminal City, Sandman Mystery Theater was excellent. Sandman Mystery is a lost gem. And Fables, yeah, Fables. Anything by Bill Willingham. I'm a Bill Willingham fanboy. Make no bones about it.
Now, the Wolverine I liked was like I think it was there was issues before Mark Silvestri. Who did that?
I remember the
guy who used to draw Wonder Woman was doing Wolverine at the time before Mark.
I remember the 4-issue Frank Miller series was the first Wolverine, and then you got the beginnings here with the pile of bodies. Was that Sal Buscema drawing it for a while?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was him.
Yeah.
But I mean, I remember. I think my first Wolverine one was issue 22. But I have to say but before the Mark Silvestri stuff, I think my favorite one was the one where he's at the he's in Madripoor and he's burnt. Yeah. He's in Madripoor. Yeah, as Patch, and he's fighting those Yakuza.
Yeah, that was a fun.
He's like literally bringing down the entire body, and they shoot him. They shoot him up, and they think he's dead. Like we go, hey, check over the counter. And he's like checking over the bar like this, right? And the claws just shoot through the guy. I'm like, dude, that guy just became a freaking kebab.
Yeah, that was some fun stuff. Yeah,
but I think the whole Blood and Claws story arc was my favorite. Oh, John Buscema. Yeah,
that was John. What did I say? Sal Buscema. That was John Buscema. 22. That was Archie Goodwin, John Byrne, and Klaus Johnson. Madripoor was my favorite Wolverine. Yeah, everybody, because it was everything. It was spies. It was superheroes. It was ninjas. It was, you know,
it was like, a dude with claws that would carving bad guys up like they were.
Yeah, like there wasn't other superheroes around to tame them. Spider-Man wasn't there to go, Logan, we don't do that. You know, he was just untamed.
No, this may be controversial, but I always thought of Peter Parker as a whiny little bitch.
Yeah, well, if you read, that means you read Peter Parker. If you read the first 39 issues of Spider-Man, Peter Parker, not only was he a whiny bitch, but he was mean. He was a mean is the only way to describe it. He was kind of a jerk.
I mean, I knew enough to go, oh, he's just whining about how he let his uncle die, and then it's like, okay, I get it, we get it. Yeah. You know, woe's you're Spider-Man. Why don't you be like Batman and just kind of toughen up?
Well, yeah, well, that was Spider-Man's motivation. What was guilt, you know, and think, you know, he's got that Catholic Jewish guilt, you know, that's why I think he's perfect as a character.
Yeah, so that's why I liked Wolverine better. It's like Wolverine. He'll go to a bar and kind of drink his problems away.
Yeah,
he's a tough guy.
Or he'll just push him down until he develops an ulcer like a real man.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, be a man. But the Blood and Claws one had my favorite cover where he's holding this huge machine gun, and he's like just knee deep in bullets, and he's smoking a big stogie. And
that's another thing. He's what was that? Joe Quesada decreed nobody could smoke cigarettes in comics anymore. Oh. You know, and the three big was Ben Grimm, the Thing, Nick Fury, and Wolverine. You know, they would get around and play cards every once in a while with cigarettes. And I think in Marvel Team Up they actually had like Miss Marvel was smoking cigarettes with them. You know, Carol Danvers. You know, like it was funny. I thought, and I was a kid, that didn't make me want to smoke. You know, I had relatives. I had my uncles. They would all play poker and smoke. Man, I didn't want to smoke those.
I knew smoking was bad when my parents had to repaint their walls because the walls were yellow.
Smoking killed my mom, you know. So I'm like the most anti-smoking person in the world, but
I just don't see the appeal. That's all.
I don't see the appeal of it either. And like my nieces and nephews, it's funny because like all my nieces smoke, but none of my nephews smoke, and I'm just like, how could you be 17, 18, 19 years old and smoke now? Like, don't you know? Like, my mom got tricked. They told her it was healthy back in the 50s. You know what I mean? But you know everything. You're going into it smoking. I mean, you know every. And plus, you watch what my grandmother, their grandmother going through with masks and tanks, you know, and oxygen. You know, she could only go on for 2 hours.
I worked at Albertsons in Port Orchard, Washington. I literally had to go to customer service because the cigarettes were behind the counter to get a customer a pack of cigs, and she was on oxygen. So she had this big oxygen tank, and she wanted cigarettes. Oh. And I was like picking them up. But I'm still hanging on. But I'm still thinking, what the hell is wrong with you?
Oh my god! Oh my god! Well, I have comic book team up with RJ of the Fourth Age on his channel in at 8:30, and we scrambling for a guest. So I have to leave now. I have to eat some dinner before that talk. So anything you want to say before we end for the night?
Yes, Melvin 0 through 2 available on Walmart, Amazon, and Barnes and Noble. They're terrific books. If you like entertaining books that have action and are not a bunch of people eating and sitting around talking about their feelings, making bad jokes, then buy Melvin 1 through 2.
Yeah, you sent me art samples and it looks amazing. This is something I'm gonna get issue 0 tonight because I got to start the beginning.
Right,
you know,
right.
It looks.
You're going to see him become a mercenary.
it looks fun. It looks like you said, like John Carter meets Conan meets
Rambo.
Rambo. Yeah, all those things you said looks good. Looks like a fun.
Nothing is over.
All right, but thanks a lot, everybody.
Yep.
And here we go one last time for the link, and I'll put these links in the description for anybody who watches this later on in the future. Check it out. It looks fun. All right, bye everybody.